If you like this content, please hit like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with others who might enjoy this too. Chapter 13. Rosie, June 9, 2017. Tuck wraps Hugh in a bear hug and gives his back a few audible thumps. He lets go of Hugh, then wraps me in a hug, and I can't catch my breath. "I love you, Rosie. Come home with me," he whispers in my ear. "I can't," I whisper back. "Can't or won't?" "Both." "Can I see you after work, to talk things over?" "No, Tuck. Let's just say goodbye, and let things end on a good note, huh?" He plants a kiss on my right cheek, then squeezes me tight before letting go. I step back and force a smile. I can feel my eyes burning, then they start to blur. I give Tuck and Hugh a quick wave before turning and hurrying to my car. I get in and carefully make my way back to my office. I sit in my car with the air conditioner running and let the tears fall. I've never been good at saying goodbye. I'm the most pathetic person I know. It doesn't take much to make me weak in the knees. My first love, though only puppy love, was the boy who gave me a handful of Skittles. I loved him because he was nice to me. He was out of my league, I knew that then too. We were in boot camp together and the pickings were slim. Out of only 100 women, he settled on me to sneak a handful of Skittles wrapped inside a tissue. He was my partner during basic rifle marksmanship, and I suppose if two people spend 3 weeks, nearly 24 hours a day together, a simple girl like me might be able to turn the head of a Texas boy with sapphire eyes. 6 years later, and I still find myself thinking of that moment when he gave me a handful of Skittles. I still think of when he gave me his gloves to keep my hands warm with a note stashed inside the left glove. "You are the most beautiful rose, Rosie." I still think of the kiss we stole at the airport after boot camp graduation. I can't remember the kiss, but I can still feel the drumming of my heart and the longing in my stomach to stay in that moment forever. Nearly 3 years later, and I still think of Brent and all the dreams I'd let myself dream with him. I still think of his smile when he held his daughter and wonder how a broken heart won't kill you physically, but God, it sure kills a small piece of you psychologically. June 10, 2017. After a sleepless night, I find myself in the parking lot outside the trailer on the outskirt of Fort Bragg proper where I work. I put my phone and keys in my burlap tote and get out of my car. I can feel the sun and humidity on my skin already at 7 in the morning. It's going to be a North Carolina kind of day, ungodly hot and humid. I'm too tired to do anything, so I let my feet lead, one foot in front of the other. A few steps into my walk, I think I hear my name on the air. I ignore it. I'm aware a lack of sleep can result in auditory hallucination. I take another step, then I hear my name again called by a familiar deep husky voice. I look up and see a silver pickup truck. My heart flutters to life and my stomach twists with excitement. Tuck is hanging out of the driver's side. His eyes sparkling and a playful smile tugging at the corners of his lips. He doesn't say anything, he tilts his chin upward, beckoning me over. It doesn't take much convincing, I have to fight myself to trot instead of sprint to him. He ducks into his truck and opens the passenger door. I cross the hood and step into his truck. "I thought you left yesterday," I say, trying to stay cool. He takes my right hand and puts it on his cheek, and I melt with the heat of his skin. "I can't leave without you," he murmurs against my palm. I shake my head. I can't walk away from my job, the beginnings of a new chapter in my life. I have so much hope for the future. I still want to buy a house, adopt a dog, and erect a white picket fence for me and the child I'm hoping to have. "Then, can I have one last kiss?" he asks. I nod and lean in. He leans in too, only, it's not his lips I feel cover my nose and mouth. It feels like cotton gauze. The pressure of Tuck's palm against the lower half of my face increases, and more of the oily industrial scent seeps into my throat and lungs. Chapter 14. Rosie, June 12, 2017. My eyes are heavy, and I don't feel good. I can't open my eyes, but I can move my limbs. I crawl across something soft until I'm at the edge looking down. My eyes open just enough to take in wood flooring, but the floor seems to vibrate. My stomach tightens and my esophagus shortens. I taste the acidic slime coming up into the back of my mouth and I open my mouth reflexively. Something wet and thick splashes onto the floor. A large warm hand takes my left shoulder and an arm wraps around me, easily uprighting my body. Rosie, a familiar voice rasps in my ear. Tuck? I ask. I can see his likeness through watery eyes that refuse to focus. I'm tired and I just want to go back to sleep. Hey, you're going to be all right, he assures. I fall back into softness and fight the fatigue. Where am I? I ask. You're home, with me. I need to go home, Tuck. I don't feel good. Go back to sleep. When you're ready, come downstairs and I'll make you something to eat and some coffee, huh? I nod and let sleep take me once more. I am angry. I feel betrayed. I watch Tuck in profile pouring a cup of coffee, a slight smirk on his face, and I can't believe how nonchalant he is. The steep steps from what Tuck calls the loft spits me out into the rest of the house. Tuck calls his house a cabin, but it is nicer than any house I'd ever lived in. It is open and spacious. It is timber frame with exposed beams, retrofitted with amenities from the early 20th century. There is no electricity, but there are appliances, all gas-powered, the fridge, the stove, and the water heater in the bathroom. The kitchen is small, nestled at the bottom of the steps between the living room and a storage room. There is a refrigerator, stove, porcelain sink, closed base cabinets, and open shelving on either side of a garden window. The living room, however, is spacious and tastefully decorated, and it enrages me. The focal point is a large walk-in fireplace made of Blue River boulders, complete with a solid mesquite mantel. There are 2 wingback chairs next to the hearth, a timber frame couch, and a large wagon wheel chandelier hanging from the vaulted ceiling. A short narrow hall cuts between the stairs and kitchen, leading to a storeroom and a bathroom complete with a clawfoot tub, sink, and linen cabinet. The bathroom is an update to the house. It occupies what once looked to be a screened-in back porch. I'm starting to think Tuck has a way of downplaying everything about himself. His eyes graze me as he turns to the L-shaped counter separating us. He gives me a soft smile. I have some coffee for you, he says, soft and jovial. My skin heats and my head spins. I know I should be more cautious if I value my life, but I march up to him and knock the coffee cup onto the kitchen floor, spilling hot coffee at our bare feet. I want to go home, Tuck, I demand. He casts his eyes downward, instinctively reaching for a kitchen towel, and begins mopping the liquid. I take a knee before him and snatch the towel, forcing him to look up at me, his cheeks flushed with annoyance. I want to go home, Tuck, I say once more. He gently tugs the towel back from me and continues mopping the floor as if I'm not there. I can't, Rosie. We're over 2,000 miles from Bragg, he says calmly and a little chipper too. Take me to the nearest town. I can find my way back home, I demand. He doesn't look at me. He shakes his head, now mopping just trails of dew. You don't understand, Rosie, I can't do that. Tuck, I begin, but a wave of sadness washes over me and I have to reserve my strength to wrangle in my tears. I sit back and I lose the fight. I'm crying and I don't want to, especially in front of him. Rosie, please don't cry, he murmurs, reaching out to put his arms around me. I bat away his arms. Don't touch me. We're not friends anymore. I know I sound like a petulant child, but I am angry and disappointed, and I want him to know. He sighs and hangs his head. Rosie, don't you think you can get used to this? This place is heaven on earth for me, he says, glancing around at the exposed beams above and the hand-hewn wood floors beneath us. I've got money, Rosie, I can give you everything you want. You never have to worry about working some menial job. My job may not have been as important as your job, Tuck, but I was proud of it. I was proud that I could support myself and don't need anyone else to look after me. That's not what I mean, Rosie. I may not be special forces. CAG actually, he corrects. My jaw drops and any hope I harbored drains from me. He sits back and stretches out his long legs. He hunches over and looks up into my face. Rosie, it's been more than 48 hours, they've probably stopped looking for you if they've even looked at all, he says, and I know he's right. Hugh, I begin. Likes me, Rosie. I'm the last person he'd ever suspect. I can't look at him. All I can do is let the tears fall. I feel utterly defeated. I'm not an ugly guy, I'm likable, that goes a long way, Rosie, he murmurs, his voice so hypnotically soft and low. He's 100% right and I can do nothing but bury my face in my palms and cry. I read a great deal about your people, Rosie. It was common practice for Hmong women to enter into arranged marriages, right? Your mother, your grandmothers, I'm pretty sure they didn't get to pick their husbands, and they lived happily ever after. No, Tuck, I interject, shaking my head and meeting his eyes to make sure he sees me. Every woman who came before me had miserable lives because they didn't get to choose. You have no idea the level of abuse every woman in my family endured. Choice matters, Tuck Ryan. He averts his eyes. My great-grandfather was a Pinkerton boy. He came out here for a job and stayed. He sent for a wife. He and my great-grandmother managed to be happy, he says. She chose to come out west, I rebut. If you like this content, please hit like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with others who might enjoy this too.